Today, we are diving deep into the psychology of hiding, that really powerful urge to just disappear when you're feeling totally overwhelmed.
So, have you ever felt that? That feeling where all you want to do is lock the door, silence your phone, and just vanish from the world for a little while? If you've been there, you are definitely not alone. And there's a really fascinating reason why our brains do this.
You know what's so interesting is the huge gap between how this looks from the outside and what's actually going on inside. To others, it might seem like you're being a bad friend or that you're just pushing people away. But on the inside, it's a totally different story. It's really about putting up a protective boundary because your energy levels are just critically low. So let's reframe this whole thing. This isn't some kind of social failing or a flaw in your character. What we're actually talking about is a deep psychological instinct. And this is the most important part. It is not you being difficult. It's literally your brain doing what it's designed to do, putting up a temporary wall to protect you when you need it the most. It is pure self-preservation. So what is the logic behind this retreat? I know it can feel confusing, but your brain is actually following a very clear, very intelligent pattern that's designed to keep you safe. And that logic follows 5 key protective patterns. We're going to walk through each one: internal processing, managing emotional contagion, protecting your energy, shielding your relationships, and finally, restoring a sense of control. This is basically the roadmap to understanding that urge to hide. Okay, first up, some of us are just wired to go inward. When things get really intense, the absolute last thing you want to do is talk it all out. That work, it needs to happen inside your own head first. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's not about a lack of caring for other people. It's about this deep fundamental need for mental space to sort through it all before you can even begin to explain it to someone else. All right, let's move on to our second pattern. This one is especially true if you're a pretty aware person. Sometimes you pull back to protect yourself from basically absorbing the emotions of everyone around you. There's actually a psychological term for this: emotional contagion. It means you don't just notice if someone else is tense or upset. You actually feel it. It's like your own body starts to react as if their stress is your own. You're like an emotional sponge. So you can imagine when you're already running on fumes, social situations can feel unbelievably draining. You're not just carrying your own stress, you're at risk of picking up everyone else's too. So isolating is kind of like a way to turn off all that external noise so your nervous system can finally get a break. The third reason is beautifully simple. Your battery's empty. That's it. Sometimes withdrawing has absolutely nothing to do with avoiding people and everything to do with just conserving that last tiny bit of energy you have left. I mean, this chart says it all, right? When you're totally burnt out, the energy you have for yourself is already scraping the bottom of the barrel. So the energy you have to spare for others, it's not there. Your brain recognizes this and basically puts you into low power mode. And the key thing to get here is that this isn't about rejecting connection. It's about protecting energy. Your mind gets that interacting with people takes effort, and it's making a smart, strategic choice to let you recharge without the pressure of having to be on. Moving on to our fourth pattern. Now, this one actually comes from a place of self-awareness and, believe it or not, care. You pull back because you know that when your stress levels are through the roof, it's way too easy for words to come out wrong. In this case, your isolation literally becomes a shield for your relationships. You know that some reactive, stress-fueled comment could cause damage you don't want, so you make a conscious choice. A little bit of distance now is way better than a whole lot of regret later. And our final reason: when life feels completely chaotic and out of your control, solitude becomes your sanctuary. It's a way to create a small, manageable world when the big one just feels like way too much to handle. I mean, just look at this contrast. The outside worlds can feel so unpredictable, so loud, and just so demanding. But in your own space, you control the variables. It's quiet, it's safe, and that sense of predictability instantly lowers your internal tension and gives you the stability you need to think clearly again. So after looking at all these reasons, we really need to completely reframe how we see this behavior. It's time to stop looking at it like it's some kind of problem. Let's be absolutely clear about this. The need to isolate when you are stressed is not a character flaw. It is not a weakness. In fact, it's one of the most effective tools your brain has at its disposal. It really is a survival tool. It gives you a safe space for emotional processing, it protects your energy, it helps you get your stability back, and it shields the very relationships you care about from things you might say or do in the heat of the moment.
And that right there is the real takeaway. Once you understand the why behind the action, everything changes. You move from judgment to understanding, not just for yourself, but for the people in your life who do this too.
So I'll just leave you with this question. Now that you can see the hidden logic, that protective intelligence behind this impulse, who in your life might you look at with just a little more empathy and a little more understanding?